What is up? So, I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time now. Super long time. A lot of people have been telling me, why don't you just get on YouTube? I remember a while back, I would say a couple of years now, 4 or 5 years ago, people would always tell me, dude, get on YouTube. Because the thing is, I have the acting background, I've done the plays, I've done basically everything in performing arts. So I was always after that struggle, auditions, trying to do this, trying to do that. And so whenever, obviously, as all us thespians, actors, we know how it is. You go through this process, and even when you out with people, even when you're hanging out with people, you're still performing. You're always performing. It's just, you know how to, exchange energy with someone to have a conversation, but also keep them entertained at the same time, like they're one of the audience members. Obviously, there's that other delusion of actors that they go too far and they don't actually know when to switch off, I guess. And so everything becomes a performance, and you end up stressing people out. But anyways, that's basically where my path came from. And then everybody was like, hey, just do a YouTube channel. And the whole time, I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, what am I going to do? Because on YouTube, all you see is the pranks. All you see is the food reviews or the unboxings, and those things are cool to watch, obviously, but for me personally to now get on, that was a whole different thing. So I would there's a lot of channels I kind of looked up to. I looked at this, I looked at that, and I was like, if I was to do anything, I would do that. But I remember the first time I ever tried to do a channel was I was going to take all my acting and then put it on a platform in hopes for it to be like that perfect audition. If I put up like 100 different videos of me doing 100 different characters and just kind of having it in this archive, someone someday is going to come along, check it out, and be like, oh, this is the guy. This is the dude we want. Wow. Bravo. This is the guy. I want him in my movie. Give him the millions type of thing. It was all just, that was my mindset back then. They were going to come down into my yard with a helicopter. There's going to be like 5 different guys in black suits with glasses on, speaking to someone through an earpiece, then some old dude gets out and is like, you the guy, you're Mikey, I want you in the movie, I'm offering you this much. So that was sort of the thought process behind it. So I mean, because I like to act. So, but this is the other thing, I was doing those videos anyways. You know what I mean? Even before YouTube came out, I was doing videos, short skits on just different things, because I like the whole entertainment industry. I like the game. It's what I came up in. But anyways, then obviously I was doing that, and I was actually falling out of the whole struggle of being the actor. And to me, it was just, you start growing up, your awareness starts getting wider, and you just start thinking, what am I doing? I'm singing for myself in front of these people. Another fact, this is my hair color, right? Auburn, ginger, whatever you want to call it. And so for me to go into certain roles of someone of my skin color, it doesn't fit with people who live around here where I live. This is Cape Town, South Africa, so you have your Cape colored person, as well as you get your colored person from, more in the countryside. I guess you could call it the countryside, where it's more of like the farm people, I guess. And so now you got like types of colored people, obviously, but I don't fit the mold. Whenever I'm on set doing stuff, what's happening is they're trying to darken my hair, try dyeing it. They want me to cut it off. It's sticking out on camera. Say if I'm doing like an extras work job or like featured extra or something. Oh no, you're showing too much on the monitors. I mean, I've been paid to stand around on set whole day because they just couldn't use me. And so these type of things, I mean, you can obviously imagine how frustrating that is. All I want to be, like my whole life, I just want to be myself. But yet, I'm trying to be myself in something that I feel is me, yet they don't want me to be myself in there. So, I mean, a lot of people, if anybody watches this, I don't know, a lot of people will tell you the same thing. You have to be like a blank canvas, and the director must be able to paint his picture of you that he sees for the character, basically. And then that's who you should be. So it's basically about being this neutral sort of blank canvas, and so people can draw their characters, put you on, and they don't really want you to come in character. And that's me. I'm always in character, because we all are. Every single person is in character all the time. And so that started like happening. But anyways, so I started that channel, fell off. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But I did start liking YouTube a lot more, because it's YouTube. People can get to know you. Sorry. People can get to know you. You can be whatever you want. I mean, I used to watch some of these channels, and I was like, this guy is doing nothing but being himself, and maybe the only thing that someone else can take away is, oh, he's unboxing the iPhone this or the Samsung that. And so that's what people would come to watch. But at the end of the day, there can be 20 different people doing unboxing. But then it's like, okay, so what's the reason for them watching this guy? It's because they relate to his personality. And then I realized it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're conveying your personality to people, and they can kind of look at you and be like, oh, this dude's actually pretty chilled. He's just doing his thing. And you kind of like, basically people relate to you. That's the whole thing. They can relate to you. They can go, hey, you're a normal person like me. Oh, I see your following or whatever is increasing. Oh, cool. And people can go back in your videos and be like, oh, look how he used to be. He was so chilled. He was this. And now he has a whole big show and whatever. So anyways, the next thing was the food reviews. I dig them because I would find myself middle of the night watching people eat food. And then I started syncing it up now. I was like, I'm going to have my meals. I'm going to have supper with these people. So now it's almost like they're your friends. You have this weird online friendship with people that don't know you even. Well, I guess in their numbers they can see you exist, but there's no face to that. That's just binary, That's all they get from you, and maybe a comment or whatever. But you get to interact with people. And so I started doing the food reviews and stuff, but at the end of the day, there's a lot involved. The money to go to all these different places, getting around to all these places. Then, when you're out at these locations, you have to be completely engaged in it. You have to be in this whole thing. You can't just, how can I say, you can't just go there and be all loosey-goosey and then end up doing this, that, or the other. No, you have to you doing all the kinds of jobs in one. And then I realized, like, I'm the person who's trying to put on this thing, but at the same time I have ideas about what camera angles must be shot, how I want it to flow along as I'm walking, how I want to do this, how I want to do that. And then I realized the camera guy himself needs to be skilled. You can't just have any person doing that. And so I'd get a few people on, like some of my friends, to help me out. And I would go back and I would watch the footage and I'd be like, what is this? Like, why would you hold it like this? Why would you hold it like that? And it just drove me insane. I promise you. It just drove me insane. And once again, if you aren't like really passionate about something, it's gonna fall away. You're gonna find something else to do. And so the other day it hit me, because then I kept thinking what I really like is podcasting. Podcasting is something I really enjoy. Just a normal conversation, but obviously it comes back to the whole radio thing. You know, we grew up listening to people on the radio, having talks like this, and these days people almost want to speak about podcasting like it's this whole new thing, but it's just a different term for something that's been happening the whole time. It's a broadcast. And actually, fun fact, you can Google this, podcasting comes from an iPod. It's the fusion of iPods and broadcasting. What's that guy's name now? It's like Ben Hammersley. I should actually look that up. But actually, Google it right now. Ben Hammersley influence on the word podcast, or Ben Hammersley creating the word podcast. They'll tell you that. It's a combination of iPod, the actual iPod, and broadcasting put in one. So it actually comes from Apple, to be honest. But anyways, it's like, for instance, the word smog. It's a mixture of smoke and fog. That's how you get smog. But anyways, that's beside the point. I digged it. I dig the radio shows. I used to play around on PCs back in the day with the Windows recorder, voice recorder. I used to have a computer mic, and I wish I'd actually kept those things, because I always digged it, you know, I always digged this whole thing. And so, I mean, it's basically been a long time coming where I know about radio and stuff, but then obviously, you know, the big radio guys, Joe Rogan, podcast guys, Joe Rogan, and, you know, all his friends, and then, you know, just, I don't really want to dive into every single person. I said Joe Rogan because he obviously has the biggest one. I listen to his show a lot, and even H3H3 with, it's called, what's their actual thing called now? It's H3H3, I think that's their channel. They also decided to start doing a podcast now. And obviously they started with doing whatever they were doing, got fans in that way, and now they've built it. Now they're only doing podcasting, I think. I don't really follow their other things, but beautiful studio. Obviously maybe you rent it out or something. It's got that purple finish. It just looks amazing, and I dig it. And so it's like 2 worlds or 3 worlds. You get to be yourself completely. It's your opinions, everything that you want to say, exactly how you want to set it up. Then you can also just have the audio, so people can just listen to that. Then to add the video thing in, the acting and all that, basically you put the video footage on, and you let it go. You let it record. So I just think it's such a cool way to be online, be yourself, and then just cast out, you know. I got the laptop open here, so just in case. I'll see how it goes down the line. One day I obviously want to have it where I can bring things up and edit things in, but right now it's just to start. And so now this is what I'm doing. This is my new channel, the All Mikey Show. I named it that obviously because I'm Mikey, but I just didn't want to. There's so many people who have the same name, and you want to be different. You want to at least stand out somehow. So for me, the All Mikey Show was cool because it's a show about me. So it's basically my name in a different form. But anyways, and now I'm doing this. So I just want to put out content, talk about things I like. I'm a big fight fan, used to be a fighter myself, amateur fighter, MMA. But I've competed in jiu-jitsu, I've competed in boxing, I've competed in kickboxing, MMA. So I love fighting. And I have a lot of thoughts on fights. I'm constantly talking to my friends back and forth about this and this and this strength and that and this. I was actually at the fights, EFC 72. I was watching my friend fight, actually. Was interesting fight, obviously. The other thing that people also don't really understand is the fact that nerves, the crowd, that whole, like, I did theater, so when it came down to the fight, it felt exactly the same as being on stage. You know, as you're about to go out, the curtains open, that anxiety is there. People don't understand that acting, or especially theater, performance, is very similar to fighting in a cage. You basically it's the theater in the round, you know, if you want to get technical about it, you know, with the stand, the seats rising up, where the stage is the middle. First of all, you've got to know your lines. You've got to know your, what do they call it? I'm not going to try sound technical, honestly. It's just me talking. I don't want to sound like anything other than me speaking. You need to know your blocking right. You need to know, okay, I need to do this at this point, I need to do that at that point. If you do mess up a line, don't break the fourth wall. So, you know, you have to have a bit of improv. Dog barking in the back. You have to have a bit of improv. You have to have, just let me hold that on for a second. Okay, so as I was saying, you gotta know everything that you need to know when it comes to fighting. Okay, we get that. I mean, when it comes to performing, the dog was barking, like, kind of threw me off. But when it comes to that type of performing, but it's exactly the same when you're fighting. Your lines is your techniques. Your blocking is your game plan. You can't break the fourth wall because you can't show any person if you get hurt or if you're tired. And then you got to be able to improvise on the spot when something doesn't go your way. So if you do get hit with a punch, you got to learn how to flow with it. Very similar in that regard. So that's how come I could fight and have fun in there. And, you know, what I'm doing in my training camp is the same things I'm showcasing in the actual fight. So if I'm having fun, hands down at some point, I'm doing it in the fight as well. A lot of guys, what happens is they champions in the actual cage. I mean, in the gym, as soon as it gets to the cage, the crowd is there, the grandparents are there, the girl they like is there. All of a sudden now, they freeze up, and it's like, it's stage fright. And nobody ever wants to speak about stage fright. No one ever wants to, like, recognize this is something that can happen. You barely hear any coaches telling their fighter about, well, look here, you've got everything down now. You've got your strength and conditioning. You've got your techniques. You've got your game plan down. Now let's sit down and discuss the actual arena. Let's discuss how you feel about the big show. Let's discuss transitioning from the gym to the whole big event. That whole thing gets left out. I mean, I'm in South Africa, so MMA isn't that old here, but it's been going on for long enough. And plus, in this day and age, the information age, you're so connected to everything. We are so connected to the UFC. We connected to data from all the old days of Pride and all those things and how those guys did it. We connected to the modern day UFC. We could, with Instagram and all these things, you're so connected to all these other fighters and all these other trainers, and you shouldn't really, there shouldn't be an excuse as to figuring out every aspect of the sport. And the one thing everybody sleeps on is the fact that this is a show. They like to walk around and say, it's just another day in the office, just another day in the office. No, it isn't. It isn't at all. It's not just another day in the office. There's thousands, I'm guessing thousands of people. Most of these big shows, it's professional fighting. Let's just say there's a couple of hundred people there. Everyone is screaming. People are drinking. Beautiful women everywhere. Just this crazy... It's almost everything that can happen in life. It's like a microcosm of everything that happens in life in those moments that you are in that cage fighting, and even not just in the cage, just leading up to the fight and everything. Just pick any saying out of the air, like hard work pays off, and diligence and awareness, and belief or believing in yourself. All those things are there. And I mean, it's something that you'd probably consider throughout your whole life. Hey, if you want to do this, you put the work in, and then a lot of different aspects are going to happen, and keep going with the punches. If life knocks you down, get back up. That is actually happening when you're fighting, when you're in that cage. So it's this whole lifetime of things in this one boiled down, concentrated microcosm, this moment. And what's happening is people are not prepared for that. Because the thing is, the glory you get from actually winning a fight, it's a lot of the reason why people keep going back. Even if they win one and they lose like 5, they keep going back because they know that feeling. It's like you've conquered something. It's almost, like I said, it's a drop of a moment that would have maybe taken a whole lifetime to get. If someone goes off on a new venture and they actually become successful and they're sitting there and they realize, wow, I did it. It's that whole build-up they had to go through in, let's say, 3 months. So what someone would put a lifetime of work into getting, you get in 3 months. Training hard, doing your media stuff, and then eventually the victory and people screaming and, And I feel that's what beats people up as well. Experiencing that whole thing in such a short amount of time, because now nothing else in your life really compares to that. So a lot of these people will end up, how can I say, they end up almost lost after fighting. Especially, you don't get that same, you want that thrill, nothing compares to that thrill. So I almost feel like they become a bit reckless, they drink a lot, and these are different people who've experienced different things. But from what I've seen personally, even with myself, stopped fighting, I've listened to a lot of people. I saw the thing with Brendan Schaub and Joe Rogan and stuff, and I listen, and I'm an intelligent person. I can listen, I can understand, and go, you know what? I love fighting. I love everything about it. I love the movement. I love the odds. I love everything that comes with it. But in the long term, there can be heavy repercussions from it. And I mean, I have my own backstory, but I won't jump into that. But that's just my thoughts on when it comes to fighting, is that there's so many more factors involved than just, I don't know, almost going in thinking, if I train right, I put in the right amount of time, I show up, and I fight, that's it. Win or lose, I've done my thing. But there's so many other factors you're leaving out, things you aren't considering. And so I just want people to really open the trainers, coaches, all these people, I want them to open their eyes and minds and realize when our fighter is going on these big stages, we need to understand that this is like a show. It is a show. So let's consider that. This just came to my head, but I mean, it wouldn't even do you bad to go to an open mic night. An open mic night in front of strangers and just do some sort of, just talk. Even if they boo you off because you're not funny or something, or because it's not like spoken word or anything. Just go up there and talk and embrace the embarrassment, embrace the people looking away. This is awkward. Because at least then you'd get a taste of what's going on. And then you would know, even through all of that, I'm going to go into Ultra Instinct. Shout out Son Goku. I love anime, just to put that out. But just to go into it and go into that zen state and be like, you know what? The crowd is here, the energy is thick, but I know my lines. And I know how I'm going to come back. And I just think a lot of people can try to understand that, A lot of people should come to terms with the fact that it's a big show, and if you're not going to consider that, you can freeze in there. And that's just it. So, this is the first episode that I'm going to upload. I will have clips, I guess, different things. But this is what I'm doing now. Sitting in front of a camera, speaking into a microphone, just being myself. I'm not going to try to pretend to be any character from anything, and just be me. So I extend my hand as a handshake type of thing. And say if you like it, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to hear me go on about more things. But anyways, now that I think about it, this actually happened to me the other day. When you meet someone for the first time, that is probably one of the most, I don't want to say scary, that is one of the most awkward places you could put me in. Is meeting someone for the first time. That's cool. But when it comes to the handshake, I promise you, when it comes to that handshake, I get so nervous because, there's nothing that gives me more that, I don't know if cringy is the word, but I'm like, ugh. There's nothing that makes me feel more grossed out than someone with a weak handshake. I can't understand it. It's like I feel dirty in a way. I meet some of my friends, boom, hey, how you doing, pal? Great, whatever. There's this exchange of energy. If you had to put it under some weird microscope that could pick up crazy frequency, you'd see sparks and everything just going off, and You know, like in like Dragon Ball Z type of thing where they shake hands and the ground under their feet almost just starts like breaking away because of the energy, and you know, there's that smile. Like, then you get these people, you shake their hand, and it's like, I don't look here. I'm not like trying to judge anyone, honestly, but it's almost like, because I mean, who knows what happened to someone where their interaction with someone could have been like completely messed up because of whatever happened to them in their childhood and stuff. But what I am saying is, then maybe you should look into fist bumping. Maybe you should look at some other form of engaging with someone. I just don't trust them. I just don't trust someone with a weak handshake. It's almost like, you know, when you give someone a handshake, it's you giving them something. There's this exchange where you're like, this is who I am. And then when they have that weak hand, and you're almost like, you know, they like to give you like the fingers, like just the tip, and you're like, oh, what? What is that? It's like they've taken something from you. And I just can't trust someone who doesn't like show me their cards. Hey, this is who I am. So if there's any kids watching this, when you shake someone's hand, rather squeeze a bit harder than be too weak. Because especially in business and stuff, no one wants to, me personally, I don't want to work with anyone who has a weak handshake. I mean, clammy hands is one thing, I get. I guess that's just your body, you know. We can work around that, you know. I can have some, what do you call that stuff? Can't think of the word now. Anti-fungal spray. No, there's a word I'm looking for. There is something I'm looking for. It's like a hand sanitizer, you know. As they say, it's not personal. It's just personal hygiene. But anyways, so that's the one thing that really gets under my skin. I promise you. If you just can't kind of give yourself to someone else. I mean, this is the first interaction. Oh, okay. Strong handshake. Okay. They know who they are. That's cool. So all I'm saying is, I'm extending a strong handshake to you. And I mean, look here. This is the other thing I was watching the other day. A lot of girls these days will give a super strong handshake. That can also be weird as well. He's like, okay, I get it. You're an independent woman. I understand. But why are you trying to arm wrestle me? You know. But that's the thing I have noticed. The guys have become so much weaker, and the girls are now the ones who like. And I mean, power to you, you know. Do your thing. Be fierce, you know. They like to use these terms, not them as in the girls. I mean, people. You know, cool, be fierce, but also, like, don't overcompensate for something. Like I said, it comes back to their actual backstory. It comes back to your backstory of maybe something happened to you, so it's like, now you reserve yourself when it comes to touching people. If that's the case, why even shake the hand? Don't be coaxed into shaking someone's hand because they're extending it or whatever. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do, but that's just my opinion. And that's what this whole thing is about. My opinion from the other side of the world. And so, to go back to the beginning of all of this, this is the show. I don't even know if this is a podcast or not. First of all, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm sitting down. No, that was boring. But I'm saying that I'm not trying to make anybody laugh with this. I'm not like I said, I'm going to beam myself off into the ultralights, into the world, put this on YouTube. Maybe there's people out there who want to watch it or not, but I've just been wanting to do something like this for a long time, where everything is being written down as I'm speaking, as I'm letting it out. And that's about it. And I was trying to think of something, but because I'm constantly thinking the whole time. But what I was thinking for this whole thing that I'm doing now was just, remember I mentioned earlier the H3, their podcast, and then in my head I like to do this thing where I see everything. From the beginning I see everything. From what this starts off as me just sitting here speaking to the camera on the mic with my laptop here, and then I'm just looking at the thumbnails as I'm scrolling, and this video is obviously number 1, and as I'm scrolling up you just see all these, like, the whole transition of how the show starts growing and growing and growing until one day it's in a proper studio. I'm thinking a proper studio, soundproof, and I don't even want like a rented space, my own space where I can do one of these in the middle of the night, I can do one of these in the middle of the morning, in the early morning, and just, it's almost like a time lapse in my head, and I was just scrolling and I'm seeing all the improvements, everything. You know what's really cool is one of those mics that you can move them around, they sit up like this, and I've always wanted to have one of those mics. As you see, this is a condenser microphone, you know, because I do music as well, obviously the whole entertainment industry, but so I'm just using that. I'm just using what I have, and I think it's enough for me personally. It is the All Mikey show anyways, but there's something I wanted to say, but to finish off what I was talking about is literally being online now, speaking like this, not even cutting. I know a lot of people, they cut out all the dead air, the dead space, but that doesn't happen when you're having a conversation with someone. And I know this is just me speaking, but that doesn't happen. So, and I know why they do it, because it can be very irritating to listen to dead air, but there's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to do with anything. I remember when YouTube started, people were just uploading stuff. Most of these people who have like successful channels and all these things, they just did it. They just did whatever they wanted to do. Eventually it gets traction or it doesn't. But as I've said, I've done the food reviews. It ends. The passion goes. It burns out. See ya. Boom. I've done the whole acting thing. Look at me, I'm auditioning on YouTube. I've done it. The passion dies because I'm not being myself. I'm sitting down right now. I'm speaking. And this is the intro video. So I'm not going to leave it long. That's the introduction. As I said, topics on MMA. Topics on life as a South African, but none of it will be planned. I'm just talking, I'm just speaking. And if you want to listen, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. It'll be awesome. It'll be cool. I'm gonna have a lot of videos out, and that's about it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Boom.